All right, welcome. It's time for us to look at salient issues making the rounds in Nigeria, and I welcome you to the desk. My name is Anthony Momodu. As we look at very interesting issues plaguing Africa's biggest black nation, Nigeria, we will be looking at issues on the global scene and also on the home front. But on today's edition, we'll kickstart our discourse from the education sector. We're talking about the SANU, NASU, and NAT strike action, how it has crippled the university system. We've been joined via Zoom by our guest in the person of Comrade Mary Eyang, who is the chairman, National Association of Academic Technologists, to get her view as regards what the strike action is. She's from the University of Uyo branch. Good evening, Mary. Nice to have you join us. Good evening, Mary. Mary, can you hear me? Okay, Mary, can you hear me? All right, let's welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us on the desk on Global Television. Let's first of all, let's begin with the question is, what would SANU, how would you first of all describe the strike action? Would you say it was a success? Mary, please, I would like you to unmute your mic so that we can get your audio clear. Unmute your mic.
It's okay. Nice to meet with the Global Television. As you said, I'm Comrade Mary Eyang, the chairman of National Association of Academic Technologists, University of Uyo branch. We are on strike. Let me say 3 days warning strike, which we begin today, having protests in all the universities in the country. We have already finished the protests, and the protest is all about our 5.5 withheld salaries. We had a strike that was 2022, that began March till August. Then we suspended the strike because the government called us and asked us to sign a memorandum of understanding. They gave us some of the agreements, which both of them, the unions and them, they signed it, and we agreed to suspend the strike. But on the way, the federal government have failed by not implementing the agreement that they signed with us. That is why we have to resume the strike. Having heard what happened to us, the other 3 unions, we have 4 base unions in the university: the ASU, SANU, NAT, and NASU. Why we have to resume this strike is that about 3 weeks ago, the federal government singled out our sister union and paid 4 months' salary that they withheld. So we don't have any option as a labor movement that used to be. We have to resume that strike because the national body of our individual union, I'm talking about the 3 unions, NAT, SANU, and NASU, have engaged the government by writing to them severally, and the government did not acknowledge nor calling them. That is why we have to resume the strike action. This one is just a warning strike for them to pay us our withheld salary. Because to single out our sister union and pay, I want to say it's very, very unfair for the federal government to do that. Because the university community is not anchored by one party.
Okay, let's look at the issue of Mary. Can you hear me? Let's look at ASU. Don't you think ASU is also not being fair? The fact that ASU had agreed for them to be paid without the other unions paid also. Do you think this is going to change or hurt the relationship between ASU and the other unions? All right, we hope that Mary Young will be joining us later on. She is the chairman of the National Association of Academic Technologists, Uyo branch, telling us why they had to resume that strike action. All right, we still have another guest joining us, Barrister Chukwuma Nze, who is from the Nigerian Labour Congress. Chukwuma, nice to have you join us. All right, Mary, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Mary, thank you for us. My question to you, Mary, is do you think it was fair on the part of ASUU not to have insisted for all the unions to be paid? And does this affect the relationship between ASUU, NASU, SANU, and NATS?
Thank you very much. I cannot say that ASUU has done anything. The federal government is the people that are unfair to us, because I don't see the reason they should pay the ASUU and they don't pay us. And we cannot have any issue with our sister union because of that, because it's the federal government that is unfair and not the ASUU.
Okay, let's look at what would NAT do if the federal government does not agree to pay the outstanding months going forward, despite this warning strike action?
Thank you very much. You know, in unionism, I just want to say, for us, what we will continue to do is just to continue to engage with the government, continue the proper dialoguing, because we can't stop to engage them. The continuous engagement, I know it will surely yield fruits.
What of NLC, the national body, the Labour Congress, the National Labour Congress? Are they in any way trying to support NAT and other unions to ensure that the federal government, pays these withheld salaries? What kind of support will you be expecting from NLC?
Yeah, I know very well that the National NLC has still, on behalf of our four base unions, right from time that have been always backing us, that have been writing to the federal government, meeting with them concerning the issues that is in the universities, especially this without salary. I can remember the national president the other time, Mr. Joe Vieron.
All right, I think
sending it to them concerning this with.
All right, we're having some technical issues there with Mary Eyanga, the chairman of the National Association of Academics Technologists, University of Uyo branch, giving us her take as regards the strike actions embarked by NAT, SANU, and NASU. All right, we also have our other guest who is still joining us via Zoom. His name is Barrister Chukwuma Nze from the NLC. Chukwuma, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we've been speaking with Mary Yang, who is the chairman of the National Association of Academics Technologists, University of Uyo branch, talking about NLC's support for them in order to make the federal government pay the withheld salaries. As an NLC chieftain, and how do you see this playing out? Do you think it was a deliberate attempt by the government to shortchange one of the unions? Instead of paying the whole, four, critical unions of the university, they decided to pay ASUU. Does this tell us how much they value ASUU in regards to other unions?
It's very wrong for the federal government to isolate ASUU. It was a collective action that they embarked upon, and isolating one union is like a divide and rule approach, and it would not augur well for our eyeballs. I would also use this opportunity to call on the leadership of the Nigerian government to retrace its steps, and ensure that they accommodate these other unions who were together in this struggle. The struggle to liberate the academic sector was a collective one. Isolating ASU is not a welcome development, and whoever advised the federal government in that direction has not done Nigeria any good.
All right.
And I can assure you that the Nigeria Labour Congress is in full support of the unions that are contesting this anomaly.
Okay, but do you think it was unfair for ASU to have accepted their own payment, knowing fully well that other unions were left out? Does that show true unionism?
No, it's not. It's not accepting. These payments are made via transfers, and in the Nigeria of today, you would not get alert when the system is already impoverishing you. You will not get monies that you've worked for, and you say you will not use it. What they need to do is to continue to ask that everybody is carried along. So it is not they did not shortchange their colleagues. So they did the right thing by accepting, but the negotiations will still continue. They still need to continue to advocate for payment.
Do you expect them to also down tools in support of their fellow unions, regardless of the fact that they've received their own monies?
After the warning strike, that's why I started by saying it was a collective action. It was not all about one union. The academic institutions were not given the kind of quality expected of the universities in the 21st century. And these people called for different measures. They went into different agreements that encompasses all these sectors that are being affected now. For isolating ASU alone is a disservice to the institution, the academic institution of Nigeria.
Okay. Okay. Let's look at the fact that what has played out in the universities where activities have been grounded. Does this show how insensitive the government is towards education? The fact that they allow this to linger on, and we've not heard any comments from the government side to say, okay, we heard your grievances, we're going to work towards it. Rather, there's just been some dead air kind of from the government side of the divide. Does this tell us that probably government has no plans to pay up these other unions?
Sometimes it's ill-advised, like I would always say. Government is ill-advised about this decision, and whoever must have advised them is not doing a collective good for the workers. Workers are very important people in the country, especially teachers and those in the academic institutions who help to groom the wonderful success stories, some of whom we see in the international sectors, making Nigeria proud. So most of them passed through this system. And these people that toil day and night to ensure that they manage the little resources and the facilities that are on ground to ensure that they make the best out of our students has not yet been appreciated. The appreciation level is not commensurate to the input. So it's so wrong for government to take this action, and no sane-minded Nigerian would support that move. All
right, let's just quickly get to Mary Iyange, the chairman of the National Association of Academic Technicians. technologist, I beg your pardon, and we'll get back to you quickly. Chukuma, just give us a minute. All right, Mary, thank you for rejoining the discussion.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's look at what has the state government done to probably help also the plight of your union members. Has there been any comment from the state level in terms of support?
Thank you very much. We are federal workers, federal university.
Yes.
State government, they don't actually have anything to do with this kind of issue. But the only thing is that the NLC in Akwa Ibom State, led by Comrade Sonny James, they are highly in support of us because we are the affiliate union to the NLC in Akwa Ibom State. They are in support of us.
Okay. Okay. For your members now, after this strike action that is already going on, what has been the feedback you're getting from the university community in terms of the students, parents, and also other stakeholders? Have you got any form of support in terms of to help the federal government listen to you people? And the fact that the federal government hasn't said anything yet, does that demoralize the minds of the union members?
Please, can you come again? The network is very poor. Please come again.
I said, what has been the response of other stakeholders in the university community, the students, the parents, and other stakeholders? Have there been any form of support supporting NAT in this their strike action as a way of passing the message to the federal government to do the needful?
Yes, of course. This warning strike, in fact, if you can take a walk to any university around you, the federal university around you, you will notice it that it is 100%, and there's 100% support, because what is happening there is that nobody is comfortable there. There's no comfort zone because of this strike. Everywhere is locked. Nothing is going on, no lights, no water. The strike action, is 100%, and the stakeholders are in support, and both the student and other members of the university. In fact, the neighborhood, that are in support of us. The strike is total lockdown, and I start paralyze all the arms.
Okay, let's say this warning strike. Can you give us an idea after this first 7 days warning strike? How soon do you intend to go for the total shutdown, and how much time are you giving the federal government to respond to your prayers before you decide to go full blast for the strike actions?
Yeah, thank you very much. This strike that we are calling a warning strike is the strike that we suspended in 2022. So we don't need to go into much procedure again, because it is a suspended strike. The government, if the federal government will not respond, there's nothing that we can do than to go embark again on the total strike.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to other issues before we wrap it up. In terms of the condition of work in the University of Uyo, how would you describe it? The school environment, the infrastructure, would you say University of Uyo, are they having other challenges apart from this?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. University of Uyo in particular, I want to tell you that since the inception of that university up till today, the challenges is that the University of Uyo have never gotten a take-up. They have not given us a take-up grant, that I know. And that is a very big challenge without take-up granting the resumption of University of Uyo. And, in fact, that is the number one thing that is bringing us a challenge in University of Uyo, the take-up grants.
All right, let's hope all these issues will be resolved in the coming days and weeks. I want to say thank you very much, Mary Young, the chairman of the National Association of Academic Technologists, University of Uyo branch. Thank you for joining us on the program, The Desk. Hopefully, in the coming days and weeks, we'll be reaching out to you to get more details as regards how NAT and the other unions are faring.
Thank you very much.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day. All right, we've been talking with the national chairman of the National Association of Academic Technologists there from University of Uyo. Okay, let's go back to our guest. We still have Barrister Chukwuma Nze, the NLC chieftain, still joining us via Zoom. Chukwuma, thank you for holding fort while we were in conversation with Mary.
I think she's a branch chairman, not
yes, branch chairman too. And you can see from her countenance, she's very worried as regards the fact that the federal government is not listening to their cry. All right, let's go to the foreign scene, Chukwuma. Let's look at what's playing out in Gaza, where famine may already be happening in northern Gaza, and a risk spreading across the enclave by July, plunging 2.2 million Palestinians into the broadest and most severe food crisis in the world. A new report had said on Monday, malnutrition and food insecurity have probably exceeded famine levels in Gaza North, and hunger-linked death rates were likely to do so soon. Let's look at what's playing in Gaza. Do you think the Palestinians, the Hamas group, are not being fair to their people? Because all Israel is asking for release our hostages and we'll be able to end the war. Or would you say is Israel not being fair to the Palestinians?
No, it's the Hamas, the aggressors. They initiated this whole process. Israel has been peaceful on their own until the October attack and kidnap of their citizens and some tourists who were in holidaying in the country. So Hamas should consider that position and release because the suffering is much. Gaza is being bombarded, and in fact, the gravity of attack and destruction of lives and property in that region is too much, and they need to just start reconciliation because the damage is enough. The damage done already is just nothing to write home about. So I think they should reconsider and release those they've been holding captive since October, so that this whole process can be settled.
All right. Recently, the U.S. has pleaded again with the Israeli government not to enter Rafah, ground troops in Rafah, but Israel is saying they would have to finish what they've started. Does this give us an idea how much Israel would, want to, clear out Rafah before the war comes to an end? Do you think we're going to see the end of the war once Israel is able to send its ground troops into Rafah?
From their actions, you find out that they are not letting now. They just want to ensure that they've sent a message to Hamas group that you cannot just come into their space and do anything you think you can use to hurt the people. So they are sending a very strong message Hamas group because they were taken unawares. And that is why it has, the attacks have been, the bombardments have been repeatedly coming. And it's not even about the region. It has gone far beyond the discussion of one region. Several regions within that territory has been destroyed. So we should not uh, isolate one region and make it look as if that is where destruction is happening. If they are continuing, it's a quest for them to prove a point. And that point is globally it's been said that that point has been made and that they are hitting too hard on that region, on the Gaza Strip. They are hitting too hard on them. So the war continuing is a disservice to humanity, even if, like I said initially, they are responding to provocation by the Hamas group. Their citizens are kidnapped, are held hostage. Several tourists are held hostage, and it is not something anybody would like to talk about. So it's a very sorry situation. Both sides are not willing to budge at this time, but I think the international community has to continue to engage in them so that they can settle this thing amicably and everybody goes back to the status quo. There is so much to be rebuilt in this country.
All right, let's look at this next talking point that has to do with national protest. NLC orders members to picket Labour Party Secretariat. The ongoing conflict were in between the Nigeria Labour Congress and the leadership of the Labour Party escalated Wednesday as Labour Union instructed its state councils and political commission to picket Labour Party Secretariat across the country. This was contained in a letter that was signed by the chairperson of the NLC Political Commission, Titus Mba, and the secretary, Chris Uyot. According to the letter, the directive is coming after a meeting of the NLC National Political Commission and the leadership of NLC state councils and state political committees, which took place virtually on March 19, 2024. As a member of the NLC, can you give us a better picture of what is really the bone of contention? Is it what they say or what we see in the report, or is something different? Because we hear that the chairman of the Labour Party unilaterally wants to hold a national convention of the Labour Party. They blame him for financial rascality and contempt of the leadership of the NLC. Is this power tussle, or these allegations are true?
Truth be told, the Labour Party is the Workers' Party, and it was formed by the Nigeria Labour Congress. And during Aburi's tenure as chairman expired in June, I think, and the court judgment that called for a national convention because of the issues that those matters to court, called for an inclusive, all the parties, including the NLC, who is the owners of the Labour Party. But because he wants to bring himself back in a shoddy national convention, he's fixing a national convention when there has not been world convention, there have not been state convention. So these issues are very clear. When there were issues of when they had a faction, the Apapa faction was having issues with them, then he was still the chairman. The NLC went there in support of him to chase out the usurpers. But today he has become he has turned to the usurper. And we went there to, it is not about you. It is not about Aburi. It's about the good of the Workers' Party. So that is why we went there today, and peacefully so. We went there today to tell them that the NLC is not part of whatever convention they are doing. It is our party. It is the Workers' Party. For instance, how many workers can afford 30 million naira nomination form? The Labour Party was formed to be an alternative platform where workers can come in to lead their states, their constituencies, and all that. So how many workers? Now the Labour Party is being converted into the conventional parties. What is the difference between what the conventional parties, political parties are doing from what Aburi and his team are doing? So that is why we say we have to recover our party and change the trajectory so that it can come back to be the true workers' party that it was planned to be, so that young workers can also aspire for leadership positions, even if they don't have the millions. How many workers can afford that amount when you with 30,000 naira minimum wage? So you see, they've taken it beyond what the ideology was, and the national leadership of the political commission have taken the initiative to recover the party, and hopefully,
don't you think this move by Labour indirectly is in conflict with what the Labour Party, the NLC is supposed to be? They're not supposed to be partisan, but now them getting involved in whatever is happening in Labour Party, don't you think they're drifting away? And this was one of the accusations against Joe Ajaero in Imo State, where he was manhandled. The fact that he got involved in politics, being partisan politics. Is that not what is playing out again now? Is this not confirming the fears of many Nigerians that the Labour Party, the NLC, is part of the Labour Party technically, and it's partisan?
You see, the Labour Party is the Workers' Party, distinct and different from the Nigerian Labour Congress. But because it is a product of the Nigerian Labour Congress, like I said, it was formed by the Nigerian Labour Congress. So we have the Nigerian Labour Congress has a political commission that supervises the activities of Labour Party that is independent of the commission, is interface with Labour Party. The leadership, the general leadership, does not have any direct leadership role. We don't. That's why you see they have their own chairman. It is not the NLC chairman that is the chairman of Labour Party. These are two different entities. But what we are saying that when the ideology changes, it is like you now as an individual renting a shop and you give it to somebody to manage for you, or owning a business, running a business, and you tell the person, you give the person terms of reference, of engagement, how to run the business to meet the ideology that gave birth to that organization. Whenever you come back and the person is taking the wrong step, it is your duty as the person who found the organization to come back. It doesn't change the fact that you've stopped being a reporter or a presenter in your news medium where you work. But because you have interest in other things, and you can, yes, aspire to do something else. Because we talk about streams of income, and if you talk about interest in the political scene now, the interest of those who are leading us, we want leadership that will be acceptable to the Nigerian workers. And that's why we say if we have a platform where workers can then self-aspire, it will go a long way to right so many of the wrongs that we are facing today in Nigeria. And you saw what we did in the 2023 presidential election. It was mind-blowing. Under less than a year, we were able to prove our point. So that is what we are saying, that we need a political platform where workers can aspire. So it doesn't conflict. It doesn't conflict. The president of the NLC has not shown his interest to contest any political position. His ideology and what has been driving him is the interest of Nigerian workers, and it has never changed. There is no way you can
President
put him
delving into politics. Oshomole, for example, is a perfect example. Is the NLC now a platform for people to, technically now show their interest or their capability? They now, dive into full-time politics.
As a Nigerian, every Nigerian is qualified to aspire. And if after leadership serving as NLC president, Adams Oshiomhole has aspired to be governor and led Edo State very well, and today he's a senator. There's nothing wrong about that. There's no part of our constitution that says he doesn't have that right. He's also a citizen of Nigeria. So any other leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress. What we are saying today is this, that we have a political platform, because we have seen that the conventional political parties, they are very...
All right, let's go for a very quick break here. When we return from the break, the program, The Desk continues. Stay with us. All right, welcome back from the break. You're still watching The Desk on Global Television, and we've been talking with Barrister Chukwuma Nze, a chieftain of the NLC, as we look at the issues making the rounds. Chukwuma, thank you for staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, yes, we've been talking about the conflict between NLC and the Labour Party, but let's look at it on the long run. What's going to be the final, take as regards these current issues? If Abure refuses to exit or does not agree to change the date of the convention, what happens next? Is there going to be any legal tussle somewhere along the line?
The truth is, NLC is a law-abiding organization. Its political commission is also a law-abiding people. So we will follow it through. The first is that Abure's tenure in office has elapsed, and there is a court verdict that speaks about an all-inclusive convention, and you cannot say you are going to have a convention when the owners of the party were not informed. So what we are saying is not about the individual, it is about the institution. The institution should be able to function seamlessly. That national convention, if they had said, declared the process, starting from the ward to the state to the national. So each state, each ward knows their representative at the national. Each state knows their representative at the national. You now have a structure that would come gather at the, so those who are coming to the national, how were they nominated? How were they elected? Those who are coming for the convention on the 27th, how were they elected? Is democracy only at the national level? What about at the world level? So these are the issues we are raising, that we would not go into the gimmicks of what the conventional political parties were known for. Now we want to set a standard that's where things work the way they ought to work, and we would get it right. And that is why we say, whatever they are doing, you cannot come to the space and take over our platform. No, it's not possible.
All right, let's begin to wrap up the program right now with the last talking point, which has to do with the Kanu trial. Is the big talking point. Some Southeastern members of the House of Representatives, led by Honorable Ikenga Ugochi, have called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to invoke the relevant sections of the Constitution to discontinue the trial of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. This was said that the dismissal of Kanu's bail application by the court was another major setback to healing, the process and returning of peace in the region. Do you think Justice Binta Nyako is playing to a script, because she rejected Kanu's bail request but granted accelerated hearing for the criminal case against Kanu? Do you think this is the final straw